with Israel where he talks about throwing the brake rotor at the cop. Then there is the original body camera footage, which is about, 16 or so minutes long. And then there is the explanation of what happened to old poor Dorothy Douglas. I said all that to say this. We welcome all of your phone calls, whether you've been shot by the police or not, whether you want to talk about something that we're currently discussing or not, because the gold in talk radio are some of the unpredictable conversations that you will hear from individuals that happen to call. And if you've been shot by the police, our phone number is the same as if you have not been shot by the police. It's 833-212-1017, 833-212-1017. A lot of things I want to talk about today. I'm going to take a break. When I come back, let's talk about St. Patrick's Day, what this day is, the history of the day, and why if you're black, you shouldn't celebrate it. I wish I would see a black person wearing green today. Benjamin, you wearing green? Ricky, you wearing green, ain't you?
I'm wearing a Bucks hoodie.
That's green.
And I'm not wearing it for representation of Irish Day.
I'm scared of who might be on line one. We got to take a break. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 FM. We'll be right back.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 101.7 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Put a spell on you. Cause you're mine.
Well, on line one, we have Israel. Hey, man. Hey, how are you? Happy St. Patrick's Day, man.
Thank you. Happy St. Patrick's Day.
You all right? You ain't mad at me, are you? Please,
I'm all right.
Don't be mad at me.
No. When you see the comments and I've never been the topic of a discussion, but when you see the comments and stuff, it's a lot to take in. It's a sensitive subject for me, but I got to take it on the chin with a lump of salt, I guess.
You didn't tell us. Yeah. So you remarked when you called my program and probably other programs that you did in fact have an altercation with the police where you believe that you were wronged and you believe that they edited the body camera footage. You left the part out, though, Israel, of why the police came to your residence. You didn't tell us that part. So what we witnessed on the body camera footage is the reason why the police came to your house. You had a roommate. Correct?
Yes.
What was your relationship to Dorothy?
I met Dorothy when I was on probation. There used to be a temporary living placement, a TLP, in the house where Dorothy lived. And one day her refrigerator went out and her food went bad. She was sitting on her porch, and that's how I met her. She told me her food went bad. Her refrigerator went out. So I was like, well, I'm cooking tonight. I can bring you a plate if you like. And she said, yeah. And she told me she had a room for rent. And I didn't rent it right away. It was a couple months later. I had got a few jobs and everything, and I remember she had a room for rent, and that's how I ended up meeting her. But at the time, the house that we lived in was next door to the house where she passed in. So we had lived on that block for a little bit. I moved away, and then she ended up moving next door. I came back to rent a room, left again. I think I went to I left again. I moved to Madison, and then I ended up moving back there, and I ended up moving to D.C. And then she called me from D.C. saying she had nobody to help her or anything. And there was a few situations because, she was in pretty bad health. I was calling the ambulance. I was calling the police. I was calling the crisis center and everything.
She had lung cancer, correct? She suffered from lung cancer.
I didn't know that at the time. She used to go to her medical appointments, her doctor's visits and everything, and she used to bring back paperwork. I used to help her check her blood sugar and blood pressure and everything. And one day she just stopped bringing back her paperwork. This guy named Miles used to take her to her doctor's visit, but one day she just stopped bringing back her paperwork, so I didn't know what was going on with her. But I recall the time when she was coughing up blood, so I took her to the Aurora clinic, and they said I had to file. I don't know. The healthcare system was really complicated, So
it is, yeah.
I tried to take her to another doctor, and the doctor told me this woman needs a doctor, and then she ended up calling security instead of calling an ambulance or giving her medical help. So I don't know. So it was this whole frustrating situation. So yeah, I had known Dorothy for a couple of years. She was pretty isolated, didn't have anybody really around her. I don't know if the neighbors were talking about, because she literally called me from D.C. I have actually the record on video saying she had nobody to help her. Like, I was all the way in D.C. and I had to come back to Wisconsin to help her, because I was paying her rent and everything. She said, "Don't even worry about that. Just help out when I can and just help her out around the house."
One of my questions is, why wasn't she getting like constant medical care? Because obviously her cancer ended up being terminal. Did she just not want to receive medical care? Did she not want to be in the hospital? Because I'm assuming she passed away at home where you lived with her, correct?
Yes.
Why was she not getting medical treatment for her cancer? Because usually if someone is on death's doorstep with cancer, they're usually in a hospital or hospice or in an oncology unit. She was just at home.
She was pretty old. He came from that time where a lot of bad things used to happen to people in hospitals, so she was kind of traumatized. She actually used to call the hospital sanitariums. I asked, you need to go to a hospital, you need to go somewhere. And she would say, "I don't want to go to a sanitarium." So I had to look that up, and I was like, whoa. So yeah, she was kind of, but also she also knew she was in bad health. She was reluctant to take my advice and go to the doctor a lot.
Okay.
But I had to convince her to go.
When did you know that she was no longer alive? When you discovered that she was no longer breathing and was in fact deceased, where did you find her?
I had known she passed away. I was kind of in shock, because I'm not her family member. I was trying to keep her alive, trying to help her and everything, and it just felt like a huge failure, having something like that happen on your watch. So it was just all right. And then the cop got there. I'm thinking he knows what's going on, because
was she laying on the couch, Israel, or did you move her to the couch? Did she pass away on that couch?
Did she pass away on the couch?
Because that's where she was. She was in the living room when the police officer entered the house. When you realized that she was no longer...
Are you worried about the bedroom situation?
Yes. Because you...
what happened with the bedroom situation? I was trying to get her to go rest in her room instead of laying on the couch so she can roll over, just have a little more space.
Was she in pain or complaining about anything? What was she like physically prior to her passing away?
She was kind of sluggish. She was kind of gray. She wasn't she used to sit outside, go outside, talk to people and sing and everything. She had stopped doing that. One, it was cold, but she was just running out of energy, and then she had a few scares. The reason why I had the brake rotor in front of the door was sometimes she would wander outside, in her robe and everything, and not know what she was doing. So I had the wind chime on the door, but I couldn't, I wouldn't hear that sometimes. So I put the brake rotor there, so when she opened the door, I can hear the brake rotor thud at least, so I know she's going outside. So yeah, she was getting pretty bad.
Where did she pass away? In her bedroom?
In her home?
Where was she in the house?
In the living room.
She was okay.
In the living room.
And you went to check on her, and you probably called her name, and she was unresponsive. And at that moment, you probably knew that she was deceased, correct?
Yes.
And then when you found that out, what did you do next? Did you think to call someone, the medical examiner, the police, 911?
Well, she had been talking to her. She had been talking to her family and everything. She called some people that day, saying she was okay and everything. So she knew her time was coming, I guess. I had to. I was pulling myself together. I did indeed have a warrant for a misdemeanor, so I knew I was potentially going to jail that night. So I kind of cleaned up the house a little bit, just did the dishes.
So she was just, she's dead. She clearly not going anywhere. So you wanted to get some of your affairs in order because you knew that if the authorities came, and they were going to come, that you probably would be going to jail. Is that your logic at the time?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And
how long had she been deceased before the police officer got there?
Not long. I was actually just trying to gather myself. I literally Like the reason why the situation got so complicated too was I literally, it's not funny, but it is. But I literally hit send. Like, you know, at the moment, the police officer I literally hit send the phone call out. I literally called the police department when the police officer walked up and rang the doorbell. So as the police officer walked up, they got this to a T. Then they have all the evidence and all the like information, all the phone records and everything, you know. So like, you know, I haven't touched anything, seen anything since then. So they have all this stuff. And
because the neighbors called and initiated the welfare check because the neighbors had not seen Dorothy in a while, or they were wondering about her well-being. Does that all track with you? That's why the police showed up there because the neighbors called for the welfare check on Dorothy?
That's what they claim, but that's not the reason why he showed up. Because my record says somebody said that there was an aggressive male with mental health issues. They didn't say anything about a wellness check. You know, that was the reason the officer said he was there, but that's not what the call was about. Though they said it was an aggressive male with mental health issues. And they sent one police officer.
Do you think that description was accurate considering the struggle that you had with the police officer where the brake rotor in question was used as a projectile against the officer? I mean, that was a little aggressive,
Honestly,
little bit.
I think I held myself pretty well until the officer was uncomfortable, and then he handled himself in a way that kind of made me feel like pure garbage, I guess.
Do you understand why the officer was uncomfortable? Because he was there checking on Dorothy, and you said that Dorothy is sleeping, and then the officer finds out in real time that Dorothy was, in fact, not sleeping. Do you understand? And you're in a room with the door closed with this police officer. It's you, the police officer, and the deceased body of Dorothy. Do you understand how that police officer would be like, hey, because he didn't know what happened to her. That's the thing. Because you told the cop that she was sleeping. Israel, I need you to hold. Can you hang on? I gotta take a break. Please don't go anywhere. I'm gonna put you on hold. I gotta take a break. I'm gonna play some commercials, and I want to come right back because all of the charges that were levied against you in that incident with the police officer were dropped. So I want to ask you about this. So don't go anywhere. You stay there. Hold on now, Israel. Don't you hang up. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 FM. We'll be right back.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 101.7 The Truth, The Truth app, and 101.7thetruth.com.